What is up, guys? Today we're going to talk a little bit about how to properly progressive overload any exercise that you're performing in the gym. Now, the biggest mistake that I would make when I was first working out was that I would go into the gym, I would, let's say, jump on like machine chest press, and I would use the exact same weight that I used last time. I would do the same number of repetitions. Let's say it's just 12, and then take a rest interval, do another 12, do another 12, and then I would move on to the next machine. I wasn't tracking any of the number of reps performed or the weight. I was kind of just remembering how much weight I was using and then sticking to that, not doing any kind of progressive overload, just kind of staying in my comfort zone. And I did get stronger for a period of time, but eventually your body adapts to that muscle stimulus, and you do need to be constantly pushing yourself in these small increments. And the best way to be able to do that is going to be tracking your progress in some way, shape, or form. You want to make sure that you're keeping a journal or doing it on your phone with some notes, just a way that you can write down the exercise that you are performing, the weight that you are using, and then the number of repetitions that you are performing on each of the sets, and then some kind of way that you can document, like a really little note just saying this was very heavy, I only was able to perform 12 repetitions and I did 3 partial repetitions afterwards, or this was really light, maybe consider moving up in weight or try and set a new personal record for a number of reps performed next time that you come over and you are performing that part of your programming. So let's dive into an example here. Let's say I'm doing a machine chest press. I'm doing 100 pounds and I can perform that for 12 repetitions, like right up to 12. 12 is going to be like a grinder, like really slow. And I can only do that 12 repetitions, okay? The next time that I come into the gym, I want to be able to try and beat that. I want to see if I can do 13. Even if I'm able to perform 13 repetitions, that's still an indicator that I am getting stronger in a sense. So if I have that in my notes, I can say I was able to perform right at the 12 and I barely got 12. If I can get 13, even 14 on the next one, and the next time that I come through, that's a significant jump in strength, and you can continually kind of like turn that knob each time that you come into the gym and continually challenge yourself. And it's fun too, because then you have sort of a benchmark somewhere that you have every single set that you're performing, you have a game plan, you have a goal and a direction that you want to be doing. Every single rep is moving you in the direction that you want to be heading. If you are performing more of like a bigger compound lift, for example, like let's say that same machine chest press and you're in that 4 to 8 repetition range, let's say you're only able to perform 5 reps, that 5th one is really, really slow at like 120 pounds, then the next time you come in, you're just going to keep trying to add one more rep onto that, okay? And if you plateau, you can look at different reasons why you're plateauing on that chest press. Maybe it's when you are performing that final rep, you're in that stretch position and you can't get out of that stretch position. Maybe you need to isolate more chest work, or you're at the very top and you're not able to lock out the elbows. You need to isolate your triceps a little bit more, add more strength there. So there's a lot of different variables that you can look at in order to see, okay, where are these energy leakages happening so that I'm unable to perform this exercise properly through the full range of motion. So you're isolating different parts, you're looking at the actual movement and where your sticking points are, okay? Let's say you did all of that, you moved up, all right, I can just now, in this new block, I'm performing 10 to 12 repetitions. This is when I would start dabbling with the idea of moving the weight that I'm prescribing up. So like I was able, I've been sticking to 120 pounds. I've been doing reps every single time I go into the gym. I'm trying to add on one more rep to that. I get into the 12 rep range, okay? Now I might start playing with the idea of increasing the weight by like maybe the 5-pound increment. It's kind of your call. You want to start, at that point, you want to start using a weight that you can then kind of cut back down on, and then you're back in that sort of 4 to 8 rep range. If I were performing more of like an accessory, like a cable curl or tricep push down, I would want to probably increase the number of repetitions more in like the 15 to 20 repetition range. And once I'm able to hit 20 reps in that higher end of the rep range, that's when I would start to consider increasing the weight. So let's say I'm doing tricep push down 70 pounds, I can easily perform 20 repetitions, okay? At that point, time under tension wise, like, yes, you can continue going. I would just continue taking that set. If I could get to 25 to 30 range, that's fine. I may as well finish out the set. I'm not going to stop. But at that point, that tells me, okay, for sure, I'm going to increase the reps, or I'm going to increase the weight so that I drop back down into that sort of 12 to 10, 12, 15 repetition range, stick there, see if I can continue at that weight, okay, and then progressively overload the number of repetitions I'm performing each time that I come in until at that new working weight, I get back up to 20, and then I increase the number of reps performed, and then drop back down, increase the weight, and then continue building that way. So you're sort of like increasing reps. You hit a benchmark of like that 20 rep range, okay, where you're like, okay, at that point, I can increase the weight, drop it back down. Now I'm down here on my reps, come back up. And so you're progressively sort of like making these jumps while using the number of reps performed, as well as the working weight that you're using. So if you're performing compound lifts, big rows, pushing, some kind of like lat pull down, anything in that range, okay, that isn't your sort of like strength block main compound lift. Like, let's say you're performing let's say you're performing a deadlift, you're going 75 to 85% of your 1 rep maximum for 3 in 4 sets of like anywhere to like 5 to 8. That's when I would not jump around on weight. I would do the prescribed percentage of 1 rep maximum and then keep it there. Maybe jump around a little bit, but as long as you're in your percentile range within your programming, then you're fine. But if as soon as I move into my accessories, like I'm doing prone hamstring curl, okay, or seated hamstring curl, that's when I would play around with the idea of, okay, so I can hamstring curl, I can do a seated hamstring curl for 100 pounds. I can do 12 repetitions. I'm going to continue to progress that every time that I go in and I'm doing this accessory lift. I'm going to do get myself up to 20 repetitions at that weight. Then I'm going to increase weight. That's going to inherently drop the number of reps that I can perform down to anywhere in the 10 to 15 rep range. Continue to progress that till I get back up to that 20 repetition range, and then increase the weight again. Drop the number of reps that I'm able to perform at that weight, and then just continue to climb up that scale until I hit some kind of plateau, which is then when I would assess the technique that I'm actually performing. Like, let's say you hit a plateau on your deadlift where you are pulling your 1 rep maximum and you are not able to get a full lockout at the very top. That kind of tells me like, okay, maybe I need to work a little bit on my hip drive, maybe like my middle low back strength. I can do like back extension, stuff like that. And versus like if I'm unable to perform, if I fail to lift because it's not even coming off of the ground, then I would say, okay, maybe I need to do like a deficit pull where I'm standing on top of like a small block and I increase the distance that I have to travel from the floor in that sort of like 75 to 85% of my 1 rep maximum range. And then when I get to the bar again, I'm going to have a lot of strength pulling straight from the ground because I've conditioned my body to be able to pull from a lower point. And now when I'm on the floor, it's like I'm doing a block pull in a sense. You see what I'm saying? Versus like, let's say you're doing a bench press, you are performing your 1 rep maximum, you drop it in, you're pushing it off your chest, and you just can't even get it like 4 inches off your chest. It just sticks on your chest. You can't push it in, you can't push it back up. That would tell me, okay, in that stretch position, my chest isn't able to contract and get like off of that sort of sticking point on my chest. So I need to do more chest isolation exercises like dumbbell flies, cable flies, maybe like a deficit push-up even in that full stretch position. Or I could do like a pause bench press at like that same thing, 75-85% of the 1 rep maximum. That'd be great. And then the other sticking point would be at lockout. So I can get off the chest, and then it's just like that last 4 or 5 inches where I just can't lock my elbows out. That tells me that you're more chest dominant and you need to work on more tricep accessories. So you could do overhead tricep extension, tricep push down, skull crusher, JM press, close grip. You could do like a block push. We have like a block on your chest and you're only going down to that quarter weight, and then you're pushing back up at like an overloaded weight that you normally wouldn't do a full repetition at. But anything where you are working on locking out the elbows working on the tricep. That would help you then at that sticking point that you would hit, because naturally there's going to be these plateaus that happen, and you need to assess your technique in order to see, okay, what area of my body has this energy leakage, and what exercises can I do to isolate that part of this movement so that I can get past the sticking point in a sense. And then you would progressively overload that. So like, oh, like I can't get the lockout, let me do like a barbell skull crusher. Oh, my barbell skull crusher is really weak. Boom, there it is, the energy leak. So then you do that progressive overload. I'm going to do skull crusher with the barbell for at this prescribed weight, 95 pounds for 12 repetitions. Then I'm going to take that to the 20. I'm going to increase the weight by maybe a 5 to 10 pound increment, okay? And then I'm going to drop back down to that 15, 12, 10 rep range, and then I'm going to progressively overload that until I hit 20 repetitions again. Continue to progress that in your accessories within your programming. Reassess your bench press one rep maximum, and I guarantee you will snap that right off the chest, right into lockout every single time, guaranteed. So those are some ways that you can progressively overload any accessory, any exercise that sticks within your programming. If you have a personal trainer or a coach, listen to what they're saying. Trust your coach always. And if you run into a plateau where suddenly you're just not gaining any strength, you need to assess. You need to take a deeper look as to why am I not able to perform this exercise the way that I want? What sticking point in this exercise is preventing me from performing the full repetition? So breaking down your lift into different phases. On a deadlift, pulling from the ground up to the knees, is like first phase, and then from the knees up to the thighs, and then lockout. You have 3 phases that you can look at, and you can film yourself performing that, look back and say, oh, I'm not even able to pull it off of the ground. Very easy to assess, on a deadlift. I need to do more deficit pulls where I'm off of the ground and I'm putting myself in a more vulnerable position from the floor up to the knees so that I can gain strength in that area when I perform the lift in a conventional fashion. Or on a squat, you're at the top, you drop in, okay, you hit the bottom of the squat, you're in the hole, and you just can't get out of the hole. You do pause squats. You could set a low benchmark, try and come down, hit the bottom there, and then come back out. You could do a pin squat where you are getting under the bar and then pushing from the ground up and then back down. Anything that works on your strength when you're in the hole, in a sense. And then any single leg exercises that you're performing, making sure that you are dropping all the way into your hip crease, and then you are trying to as quick as you can snap out of that low position, in a sense too, keeping everything nice and tight, bracing the core, making sure that the glutes are firing so that you are propelling yourself upward, versus when I hit a squat, I can get out of the hole, and then it's just that last 6 inches at the top. Okay, that tells me maybe I can work just a little bit more on my barbell hip thruster, any kind of glute isolating exercise, or my legs aren't locking out, I can do more leg extension. Or you do one of those squats where you drop in and then you kind of lock out the legs and then you hinge. That tells me, okay, yeah, work on more glute isolating exercises, and it'll become a more smooth movement pattern, thus becoming more efficient, and you'll become stronger in that movement sense too. So that concludes the video for today. Just talking about progressive overloading, different exercises, hitting plateaus, how you can get past those plateaus as well. I hope this information was helpful, and thanks for watching.